are the Muses,
goddesses of the arts,
and proclaimers of heroes,
and pirates,
and villains,
and allies,
and eels,
and aliens,
and princesses,
and inventors.
Oh, man. And there's a lot of these glimmers out
honestly.
here. Hello, and welcome to the Lorcana Muses podcast. I'm Kimber.
I'm Brittany.
I'm Stephanie.
And we are so excited to get to chat with you guys today. We have had a whirlwind week where we got to chat with citizens of Lorcana and with Y Breezy and all of them over on Twitch and Discord, and that was a ton of fun. And it's been busy with set champs and everything, and so we know that there's some people who are new to the pod, and we figured that it would not hurt to reintroduce ourselves a little bit.
Yeah, so this episode's going to be just a little bit different. We're going to kind of go take it back, reintroduce ourselves, and then we had a lot of listener questions come in, like a lot. So we're going to go through and answer those so you can guys get to know us a little bit more, and we can dive into some of the topics you guys want us to discuss. But without further ado, I guess into introductions again. So I'm Stephanie. I've been playing Pokemon on and off my whole life. I also play One Piece, not as competitively, but I've been playing Lorcana since November of 2023, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm a Steel girl through and through. Right now, I'm currently playing a Princess Steel song deck. If you know me, you know that I love a Goofy movie, probably my favorite Disney movie ever, and then followed by a close second, The Little Mermaid, which is my favorite princess. So
we love her. I love her.
That's me in a nutshell. I have 2 kids, so you'll hear me talk about them often, and then my husband's name is Alex.
Yeah. He's a goodie.
He's a good egg.
A good egg. You chose well. My name is Brittany. I have not been playing TCGs my whole life, but before Lorcana, I played Magic for a hot minute. But I have played games my whole life. And I am a Disney fanatic, so when Disney came out with a card game that I found was significantly better than Magic, I decided that this was going to be the game for me. And then I play pretty competitively here in Arizona for Lorcana, and I have a husband. His name is Daryl, who also plays competitively, and we've had him on the podcast before. He was one of our competitors at nationals from our local area. So, my favorite Disney movie is Beauty and the Beast. Hardcore Bella girl through and through. My favorite princess. No other princesses even come close in my eyes. And I love to play. Right now I'm on a Ruby Amber kick, and I have been for a few sets. And Ruby is my favorite color, though, altogether. So any combos in my decks are always have Ruby in there because I love that power. The power.
I'm Kimber. I grew up playing Monopoly, and when I became a grown up and realized that there are board games that are actually fun, that was game changing.
Monopoly is fun.
I'm so happy that you enjoy that game, Stephanie. It can't be me. It has no haters that are dead. But I flirted with Magic for 2 seconds because there was a guy I liked in college who played Magic. And I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that. But I was like, yeah, Magic's cool. I don't know. I just dabbled very lightly, and then got married, had kids, did the things, and was honest with my actual husband very early on that Magic was not it for me. And so he did play Magic, though, and Pokemon growing up, and Yu-Gi-Oh, like all of the things. And he was like, okay, but there's Disney. And I was like, And then at that point, Brittany and Stephanie were like, just try it. Just try it. Just go and we'll eat some Mexican food and we'll have some snacks and we'll play this game. It'll be totally fine. And now here I am, many financially irresponsible decisions later. And I love this game and it's so much fun. I think that my favorite Disney movie is Encanto. My husband always jokes that my favorite Disney villain is the generational trauma of that movie. But honestly, probably Maleficent. But it's a close tie. I love any kind of control color. Ruby right now is usually my favorite, but Brittany looks at me like, don't betray me, woman. But I just made an amber steel location-y thing.
Yay!
Nah.
We are cookies.
Ruby was the side to
I have both. ¿Por qué no los dos? But I have 2 kids. I'm a teacher. And yeah.
And her husband's name is Doug.
Yes, thank you. I'm just like, there's this guy. He's good. We like him.
We refer to our husbands a lot in the episode because they're the ones we play with a lot.
Yeah.
Or not in this episode, in this podcast. So that's a little bit about us. We're Kimmer and I have been breaking into the competitive scene more, but our hearts are definitely for the casual girlies. And then Brittany's our competitive queen. So we're just loving being on this podcast. We have
take away my crown. I play like guard.
Oh, shush.
She made it to round 4 at the LCPs, and now she's having a small identity crisis.
That was 2
during
weeks ago.
set champs, and we are going to hold her hand, and we will get through this all together.
At least you got to play in a set champs.
Yeah, that's very nice. How with the stuff?
I was so excited. I was so excited. I was going to do 2 set champs. I had my outfits prepped in my mind.
Oh.
I was getting my video ready, and then was it Wednesday or Thursday? I started going down hard.
Fire Nation attack,
and the flu got me, and I was like, "There's no way, no way." But the one thing I did accomplish this weekend, even being in bed sick, is completing my enchanted collection. So that's not to mean I have every single enchanted. I just have every single enchanted that I want and I've ever wanted. So
that's exciting.
Yay!
What was your final card that you added to that to finish it out?
Oh, it's Surfer Stitch. Yeah. But I traded a lot for it, and then also compensated with a little bit of cash. But I didn't have to use as much cash as it's worth, thankfully.
Yeah.
And a local was selling it, which was so nice of him to work with me on it.
Love
it.
Yeah, and so another big thing for us to note is we live in Arizona, and so a lot of what we talk about is based in our locals, which is in Arizona, but we tried to generalize as much as possible and give ideas and things for building out community within your area. But we do, we record at North Valley Games in Mesa. Shout out to them because they always let us record in their space, and we love, that's where we play our league nights. And do a lot of our events and things. So,
yeah.
But that's a little bit more about us as the muses.
But to get into some questions.
Yeah, we were so excited. There were so many questions.
So first we have from Quest with Wit. Do you think using dual inks is going to change the meta and bring new color combos to the forefront? Bring new color combos to the forefront.
I have many feelings because just last week, right before the podcast uploaded, I think.
Yeah.
They announced we had already recorded and Stephanie had done all of this editing for, and then they're like, whoops, accidentally slipped that we're doing Dual Link, everybody. And I'm just like, well, I guess I'm gonna eat my words. Good thing they were delicious. I think it definitely is going to change some things. I really hope that we get those non-traditional color combos. I would love an amber sapphire color that just is so good that people have to want to build it to it.
I think that just like any card that we feel is going to be game changing, meta changing, I still think that those decks that are those core meta decks are going to still be there. But I do think that especially in this last set, we have seen a lot more variety in the meta already. So I don't necessarily think that the dual colors is what's going to do that. I think that that's already happened. I think that the more people are comfortable with the cards and understanding all the mechanics and the ins and outs of how cards interact, I think that we've already see that in all of the high level gameplay, but also within the locals. If you look at deck list from people posting online from things that they have brought to different like set champs, or even just like playing at their league on a regular basis, we see this really unique combination of cards. Yes, we still have like the main winning decks lately have still been those core few that have been around since the beginning, but we are seeing like Blurples make it to the top. We are seeing some Sapphire Emerald decks that are showing some spiciness. Like, I think that that's already happening. I do think that we will see them more, but I don't necessarily think it's going to break the wall, basically, you know?
Yeah. No, so far, I'm not super impressed by the dueling color cards either. I think they will need, like any meta, right? They need to be figured out and tweaked. They might even be something where we have to wait another set or two until there's more cards that help support them. Mm-hmm. We've kind of have seen that with other new mechanics, like with locations. It kind of took a set or two to kind of figure out what's the best locations to use in a deck, which ones are going to be like super forefront in staple meta decks, and which ones kind of fell as duds. So we will see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I know we can predict probably aggro being at the forefront of the meta and early, but that's every set. So
yeah, when that Emerald Amber lady dropped, I know that everyone who knows my husband was like, I think Daryl was the one who said, like, did he make this card?
Yeah, no, it looks like it was printed for Doug's deck.
It really just did, because he's always singing, like, he plays You Came Back and I Won't Give In, and he's always bringing things out of his graveyard and making things do stuff all over again, and then he's like, I want to see the shift targets, and I'm like, I don't. Just because, yeah, I've been hurt by that before. But that's because I play Ruby Sapphire and Chrome Hearts.
Next question from Angie. What's the easiest competitive deck in the meta right now?
Oh,
I think that really depends on your gameplay style.
Yeah.
Because, like, what is easy, I think, is differing for different people. And also, what necessarily is easy is not necessarily what wins either.
I disagree a little bit. I do think Steel Song is an easy deck to learn.
Okay, I think that's fair, but like I feel like it might be easy to learn, but not easy to master.
No, but none of these decks are easy to master.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So she's asking what's easiest to like kind of pick up and start at least playing, and I do think Steel Song is that. I know there's a lot of nuances to Steel Song, but everybody knows, you know, Cindy on drop one or Daisy Duck on drop one, and then you start singing, and so
I think there's an argument I think that can be had for Ruby Amethyst. A lot of people say that that's one of the easier meta decks to learn, even though I personally disagree, because knowing when to bounce things, I think, takes a lot of...
I think it takes a lot of like practice and game knowledge and game state knowledge against who you're playing.
I think starting out, it already has a lot of power.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I think that character heavy decks are generally easier to run.
Yeah.
And we are seeing a lot of decks lately that have been pretty character heavy. I'll say like Mufasa variants. I feel like in general, like you do have to know play lines for each deck you're playing against as someone who plays like a variation of a Mufasa deck. Like,
Mhm.
I think that that's something that I always had to really think about. Like, I have differing characters that I play against different matchups because it is character heavy and you don't have a lot of outs if you don't play the correct characters for the correct matchups. But a lot of character heavy decks are generally easier to play just in terms of, yes, you play on a curve, you play a 1-drop, you play a 2-drop, you play a 3-drop. Like, you work on that. Like, you don't have to play the way I've built mine with like discount characters. Like, you can just play it on curve
Yeah.
and be able to have bodies that can both handle your board state and lore quickly.
So with my Ruby Sapphire deck, I had this like moment where I was just so stressed about set champs that I just sat down with a piece of paper and I was like, turn 1, and I listed the different things that I could do turn 1, and I was like, turn 2, and it like stayed the same. And then I got to turn 3 because hopefully by then I have at least 4 ink, and I'm just like, oh no. And then it starts like just spider webbing. It's like, do I need to control? Am I trying to get some lore? Am I trying to get more cards? Am I trying to get more ink? And I was just like, what have I done?
No, but it is really, it's a really good way to practice your deck is to solo play out your first couple turns. You expect your 1-drop to not last longer than, 2 turns, and you expect like you expect those things to happen, so you play against an imaginary opponent and work your way from there.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for everyone, and you don't necessarily know exactly how that would play out. And it is different depending on what your matchup is. Like, I play differently against a Sapphire deck, like any Sapphire, like Sapphire Amethyst, right? Sapphire Steel. Like, I play differently against Sapphire-based decks than I do against decks that are, like Steel. Like, I guess Sapphire Steel, I focus more on the Steel side of it because that hurts my deck more than the Sapphire side, right?
That's really fair.
So I have to focus in on what part of that deck might do the most damage to me.
Yeah.
But I think, easy is relative, but I do character heavy decks in general
I would agree.
are like more simple to play. I would say that there's some decks lists recently that I've seen that are like Amethyst Steel that seem relatively easy to learn, and I've seen some newer players gravitate toward those deck lists.
I actually built my daughter an Amethyst Steel, and then it ended up being so good because I was having, we call it brain trust whenever my daughter's playing, and then she's able to ask dad for help and gets ideas and help, like advice for what to do. And he was like, wait a minute. And then she got disinterested because she's 6 and she's allowed. And he was like, I'm gonna finish this game out. And he was like, I like this. And I was like, oh no, that's not for you. That's not for you. And he just tweaked it a little bit, and then it was somewhat competitive. Like, yeah.
So I guess the answer is relative, but
if there was a perfect answer, then everyone would play it.
I think also just ask, like, if you're ever curious about a competitive deck and want to learn like how to play it, just whether it's on the internet or whether it's at your local, like just ask somebody who plays those colors regularly and they can help you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they know those play lines. Like, I know every play line like the back of my hand in my deck. In most Steel Song decks.
Yeah.
So, moving on from Matt, who is an obscure Disney pet you would like to see in set 7. And I mean like Minnie's pet dog Fifi obscure. Or the chicken from the 101 Dalmatians animated show that I mentioned last episode. He is my vote. I don't even remember his name, but he is my vote.
Funny. I'm like trying to think obscure Disney pets. Like, I guess Mulan's dog is not really that obscure.
No.
Like little brother. Yeah. Little brother is his name. Like, he has a name. So like we're trying to think of characters that have pets that don't necessarily like me. I think most of the pets have names unless we're thinking about like TV shows.
I want the owl from Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
Like dancing
Yes, with
the
the
cape.
cape. Yeah.
Like,
But is he considered a pet? Like he's an animal. Like that's where we're like pets.
Nora is a child of the forest. Like, she's dancing around.
Those are her pets.
That's
Like,
fair. That is fair.
they might even be her siblings at that point.
I want also the worms from Fox and the Hound that turn into butterflies at the end.
Oh,
Not the worms.
not
I'm
the
sorry,
worms.
the bird. No,
the caterpillars.
Oh, I lost it. Are they birds? Yes, because there's a woodpecker. I mean the woodpecker.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was like trying to follow.
I got them like
It's
mixed
been-
up. I got them mixed up.
Yeah, I was like, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. It hasn't been on my rewatch yet.
Yeah, because I don't want to hurt my feelings like that.
I know. I know.
enough to watch Fox and the Hound for fun. Like, I will sob.
I was like, Daryl and I were on that.
I went into labor watching that movie. So.
I watched Frozen when I was in labor with my kid. They had a Disney marathon on when I was in the hospital.
So no, that movie.
I've got my epidural. I
just gotta let it go.
I tried.
That movie makes me cry for so many layers of reasons.
Gosh.
Oh. But yeah. From Riley, which we shout out to Riley. I love her. She is an amazing content creator. She has created like the Lorcana bingo, which we took some like inspiration from and made our own Lorcana bingo for this upcoming set. But she wants to know if we will ever see live action make it to Lorcana.
I think that if it does, it will be received similarly as the live action movies.
Oh, that's a good take.
Don't, because like Pirates of the Caribbean is a classic.
Okay, but I don't think that that's necessarily like that's not them taking Beauty and the Beast and then like
Yeah, I say I do eventually think that's something that could come, but I don't think for years yet.
No, and I mean, and then they would have to animate it, right? Like I wouldn't want them to put a picture of the character.
did a
like,
picture.
I think I have to animate it.
like
I wouldn't want the picture.
no, I would want them to be like in the realm of Lorcana, like they're cartoon characters.
There we go.
Yeah, so they're going to be cartoonified, right? Like they're going to be. So I think that might be a possibility, but I don't think that's going to happen for a hot minute.
We have plenty of IP like the Goofy movie.
Well, and all of Pixar and all of that coming. So like I think that it possibly could happen, but there's so much IP already that already in drawn style that I don't think we're gonna get anytime soon.
We were watching movies over the weekend, and I know Pixar is a long way off, but I Luca, like Luca cards.
I was
I love it.
whatever about Luca.
Oh, I loved it.
It was cute. I wasn't like even now I couldn't tell you. I think most of the plot of that movie.
Yeah, it was okay. That's how I felt about it. It was like it was okay.
My kid kind of like went through like a Luca loving phase.
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's fair.
And I
Yeah.
We all resonate with what our kids love.
honestly.
Yeah, so I for Pixar, I'm such a Toy Story girl.
Me
that
too. Toy Story forever. Toy Story 2, break my heart.
Oh, Bug's Life for sure.
Bug's Life.
Yeah.
I want a rock its the item is seed.
And then from Trey at Get 'em Games, what is your favorite alternative format for Lorcana? I think mine is definitely the multiplayer, but specifically the multiplayer games that Daryl has created, because those have been a lot of fun.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, no.
I really like the first one we played, where it was like lore stealing.
That was insane.
Oh my gosh.
So Daryl, my husband, like created a version of multiplayer where you stole lore from a pot, and then eventually, once the pot was empty, you had to steal it from each other to win. So it extended the game for a very long time, and
We played for at least 2 hours.
it was fun.
Which, now that you know that Monopoly is one of my favorite board games, it all makes sense.
I'm here for a 2-hour game, but like at some point, like I'm too stubborn, I think is the problem for Monopoly, because I'm just like, I will sell you Broadway over my dead body. And then I'm not stubborn until I'm like, actually, you know what? Do you want all of my money and my property? Because I'm out. Like,
Yeah. No, I really like multiplayer.
Yeah, no, I like multiplayer. I think I love Pack Rush. Like I love how short, sweet, and to the point it is. I also really enjoy playing Pack Rush for keeps. Mostly because I've opened 2 enchanteds playing that. So like whenever we get packs as prizing, Dave, who's a local of ours, like he's always like Pack Rush for keeps, Pack Rush for keeps, and I'm always like, yes, game. And so I've done that with him, and
This is how he put your husband in an early grave.
Yeah.
yeah,
Ham.
yeah, I got enchanted ham hands, Mr. Ham Hands himself in a Pack
Daryl
Rush
walked
case.
outside of the store.
He was so stressed out because I opened it. We did an enchanted check before we played, and but I luckily won, and I've won, we did it again with a different player, and I won that one too. So I won each of the ones that I opened, and the enchanted were in the packs that I opened.
That's scary.
So
It is very scary.
That could never.
high risk, high rewards, folks.
Or if they were already in your packs, you. Never mind.
I could have just
Never
opened them
mind.
myself and kept them here, right? But I played Pack Rush and I won them. I was victorious.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
Happy, you're happy.
My competitive heart, like,
Renee, like, oh, let's play multiplayer.
yeah.
There's not enough citrulline in my body to be okay with that.
You know me, I love to battle it out in all instances.
It's true.
Even in Pack Rush, like, I am very competitive, even if it's in a format that's not supposed to be that competitive.
Next is from our friend White Breezy. We were just on you guys were just on Lurkana After Dark last week. I was
Down.
puking my guts out. Yeah, you guys did so great though. It was so fun to see you. But he says if the muses get a dual colored ink card, which 2 inks would fit them the most?
Okay, so why breezy? You didn't specify. Did you mean the muses as the characters, the muses, or the muses as the podcasting trio? Because that's a very different set of dual inks.
The muses as the podcast would definitely be Ruby Steel, and it would fight itself.
That is so very true.
Like somehow it'd be like banishing itself. Yeah.
If it's for their colors, then it would be amethyst sapphire, but that's not true.
No.
Would not be true in the we have too much control problems and too much control, like, I guess not problems
They're control solutions.
Excellent. Love it.
But as a character, I do think it would be a lemon, an emerald, amber card.
I can see that.
I feel
Just
like
because with the songs
Yeah.
mechanic and the discard mechanic.
Definitely emerald, just because the muse's card itself is emerald, right? And like you would want the dual ink card to work off of the other muses, but I honestly think it'd probably be emerald steel. And that's coming from me. Just I think that
because of
to go with the steel songs, that would work off of that. So, but I 100% agree with you on the emerald part, though. And I say that with so much hesitancy, saying emerald steel, because it is like, if I'm talking about steel decks that I do not enjoy playing against, like emerald steel is the second most, because steel song still just hurts my feelings.
Oh, goodness.
I want to say amethyst, but that's just for the aesthetics.
Oh, I mean,
Like,
it would be gorgeous, but
it's not
but it wouldn't be right. It would be
the
gorgeous,
vibes.
though.
Well, maybe it could be amethyst if it did like some bounce stuff.
Yeah. Whenever you play a song, you can
Well, I mean,
bounce
because
a thing to a place.
thing to a place.
You could bounce a card
So
to a
good at
hand.
the Lurkana game. It was so funny. It said Chance, one of our locals, was like, don't worry, I'm going to invite the bottom 8 to a special championship. And I just looked at him at the very end of it because I had a really rough time. And I was like, hey, I would like my invitation to be engraved with gold calligraphy. Thank you very much.
Goodness. Citizens of Lurkana wants to know if, and he means when, the dual ink flounder is revealed, what inks would he be?
Obviously sapphire amber. Just obviously.
I would like to counter that. I would like for. I know that.
Can we ever agree on anything?
No. It's the Ruby Steel.
I'm saying it's like if you can't banish something else on entry, that card is going to banish itself.
Sapphire Ruby. He turns into a piranha. He's a floodborn.
He becomes the shark.
And somehow Pixar joins the fight early. Fish are friends.
That's so funny.
So that's good. That's good. No, I was just thinking because, he
100%.
He is the little yellow.
Yeah.
That is the answer.
That was why I said it. Like, it was only because he's actually those colors.
And then I just said Ruby to be contrary.
Yeah, I just think he gives off amber support vibes, right? And then
he's a real good friend like that.
but yeah, and then I think that there's some really great synergy with some Ariel Sapphire cards. So I think that would be my real answer.
Ooh,
like, I have real answers with the colored answers.
Maybe he could go fishing for an item for her or something.
Fishing? He's gonna go fishing?
Yes, he did that very intentionally.
Who's it and what's its galore?
Dingle hoppers. Stuff.
And snarfblats.
Thank you for coming in with that
you're welcome.
vocabulary.
Yeah. Scuttle for the win.
From Christina, as a new player, I am wondering what color combo is easiest to start with. If there is a combo that is the easiest to start with.
I think this kind of goes back to what's the easiest competitive deck, right? I think it really depends on your playstyle. Like, if you feel comfortable just trying to quest quickly, like, there are some really good aggro decks that are good to start with. But if you want to have more control of the board and feel like you have more of a back and forth between you and your opponent, I do think that, like, having one of those control colors like a ruby or a steel in your deck really helps to balance out the board state. But I also think, like, Blurple has some really good early entry type deck lists that would work. And I've seen some really neat Emerald Sapphire decks that, like, lean into, like, the inventor mechanic, and that might be fun to play some inventor type tribal things. Like, that might be a fun, not necessarily quite as competitive, but way to, like, get into the game and use some of the game mechanics.
I think if you're new to playing, I think even if you're new to TCGs in general, don't be afraid to try a few different combinations out. don't want you to go, oh, I like aggro because I played aggro in Magic or your One Piece or Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever it is, because they're so different.
Uh-huh.
And then you're stuck and you're like, well, I don't like this game because it's not like the aggro that I like. And so I think just play around with the different types of games that you can play. Whether it's tempo, aggro, control, whatever it is, like, play around with some colors and play around with some styles of play. Also, it's never a bad idea to, like, start off if you want. Start with a Disney IP that you know and love. Like, you want to play Minnie Mouse and Friends? Try to build a deck around it. And then figure it out from there.
Yeah, because at least then you'll be like, my friends are going to hang out
Yeah,
together.
like, you just don't feel like you have to go from 1 to 100 in competitiveness or anything like that.
Absolutely.
I think we all kind of started that game, or this game that way.
Absolutely.
None of
Yeah.
us, like, dove into it, like, hyper competitively.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that as someone who's super competitive, right?
I would.
No, but like the decks, we were all figuring it out. I remember us figuring it out. We played the starter decks. They're called now single player decks, but they used to be called starter decks, and we would play those and figure out those. We would go through, as we started getting more product, we'd go through and, like, read the cards and be like, oh, that's a great mechanic. How do I build a deck around this mechanic?
Uh-huh. And I, as the last, like, one of the people who came into the game later in our friend group, I was really fortunate to have your guys' expertise and experience to help me. And I remember at first I was super intimidated because someone was like, do you like control or are you more aggro? And I was just like, I don't know what those words mean. Help.
Oh, I still like,
And
yeah.
half the time I'm just like, explain it like I'm 5. But at first I tried aggro and I was like, I'm so scared. I'm gonna breathe and they're gonna punch me. And then someone let me use their Steel Song deck and I was like, oh. And then I had you guys being my brain trust where I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And I was like, oh, I can do things. I can sing songs. I can punch stuff. Like, I am not just getting punched. And trying out those different decks that people had made, like, you obviously need to have a relationship with someone before they're like, here's my $300 deck. Cool. But, like, trying that out is so...
That's what League is there for.
Exactly. Like, League is such a good place for that because you can try things out and it's low risk and just figure out what feels comfy to you.
Yeah. Brian wants to know if we have any advice on starting a league in your area. Speaking of leagues, we talk about this actually quite a bit on the Citizens of Lorcana podcast we were on last week. So I highly recommend checking them out in general, but check out that episode. But to like condense it a little bit further, find like-minded people. Online is a great tool, and I know social media is like kind of a scary thought, but there's so many great Facebook groups we've come to find that are like Disney Lorcana in general. So it's like everybody in the world is in that group. There are local Disney groups or Disney Lorcana groups. And then if you have a game store to play at, start going in, asking them if they have a league night. If they don't, then like talking to the store owner, what would be a good night to start it? Getting your friends together. If you don't have a game store, start meeting at restaurants with tables that are big enough, or parks, or if there's
a library.
We go to sometimes play at, we take the kids to go jump, but they have these tables we can play at, and we just play cards there. And while the kids jump on like an indoor trampoline place. So
it's the best of both worlds. Time with children and getting to play Lorcana.
Yes. So there's so many different ways to start it. If you are interested in more advice, also reach out to us because we are happy to help in any way, or any content creator really, I think, is happy to help. So, yeah. From Traverse Tavern, I'd like to hear your experience with set championships in real life and online, and how you would best change them to attempt to make as many people happy as possible. This is a doozy of a question.
Yeah, that's kind of loaded. But in general, like this set champ season, I've been playing like a garbage pit, but that's okay. Like it's not everyone's time, right? But like in previous set championships, like I've won a card in each one, and so like I feel like I've been relatively competitive overall. And I think it really comes down to which stores you're playing at for the most part, like for a set champs, like, because I think so much of what is happening during gameplay takes the lead from, how the store is running the set champs. Like we've had some very, very positive gameplay moments and like set championships at stores that I like was surprised by because it wasn't stores that I play at regularly. But we've also had some really bad experiences at set championships. Like there are some stores that just don't necessarily follow the expectations that Ravensburger has put forward. They don't necessarily listen to the community and meet the expectations of price support. They don't always support the players in like the timing of the event, or having judging or things like that. And I think that one of my biggest takeaways and things that I wish that Ravensburger pushes forward with relatively quickly is a judge program. Because I think that a lot of issues that we've had with set championships would be mitigated by the fact about having like an actual judge program. I think that would help with a lot of tension that could possibly be happening within gameplay between players. But That's just my part. I haven't really played in very many. I've played in like a singular online tournament, so I don't really have an opinion on online tournament play because I haven't really done it. Like, because I know that some people have like run through like webcams and stuff like that. So my only experience with that is just like it feels similar to in person minus, the overhead of being in person. Like, I feel like my gameplay would be the same. It's a little odd because interaction with your opponent is different, but yeah, I that's not something that I have much experience with. But I have played in a lot of set championships.
Yeah.
I like that idea of having the like a judge academy, like a way for that to be more clear, more streamlined, and those expectations to be really like in stone. It just reminds me of something that someone at our school says. She says you have to be clear to be kind. And I think sometimes like our community as a whole is very kind and like good people. But I think the time that people do butt heads and have a hard time is because things are not clear. And like we hope that everybody can communicate in a good way, but sometimes it's stories and players and judges or not judges, and so yeah, I like that idea.
Mark wants to know what separates the good players from the elite players.
Wow, we're like really ending with some heavy questions. I think that experience is a big part of that. And I think that in general, TCG experience is helpful. Like, especially like if this is your first competitive TCG, you shouldn't necessarily come into it with the fact be like, oh, I should be a national contender, right? You can be. I'm not saying that you wouldn't have the skills for it, but like a lot of these players that are playing at this quote unquote elite level have so much experience with other TCGs.
And so they've already thought through so many of those different play styles or those
the play lines. Like there's only so many different ways you can have card interactions, right? Like there are reasons why like when new Lorcana cards are being announced, or they're like, oh, you see in the comments like, oh, I've seen this card before.
Yeah.
It's like a picture of a card from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or a picture of a card from Magic.
Champs against someone who was playing Ruby Amethyst, and he kept calling all of the different cards what like their effect is like in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was just like, okay, I guess we're doing that. Cool. Yeah.
I think even experience with just playing at national or even regional levels at a larger scale helps.
Yeah, because there's so much stamina that it requires.
Oh, yeah.
Like mental, physical, all of it. Because I know for me, after a long game, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, ready for an aggro deck to play against me so that I can be out in 2 seconds and I can like go take a mental nap.
Yeah.
Yeah. In general, I think that elite players seem to have cooler heads.
Yeah.
Like if you look at like the high level play in Lorcana right now, all the players seem to be pretty just relaxed as they're playing because they just feel comfortable.
They've done it. They feel comfortable. They have been doing it.
And Dave, who we had on the podcast just before Nationals, like he was like, yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to be playing yet. And he got 34th, if I remember correctly. Like,
well, and he's played too.
He's been playing games like this for a very long time. He's very experienced, and he really is just very cool, level-headed.
I love that we keep talking about Dave. We're gonna give him a big head.
He's already excited when we name drop
him.
There's this guy named Dave.
And then I guess ending it on another not heavy question, but just another comparison question from Kopi Junkie. Do you think we'll ever get a commander-like format in Lorcana?
I think that there is always going to be people who want to play the game in different ways, right? Like Magic didn't come out with a commander-like format, right? Like they eventually took it on and were like, oh yeah, people like playing this, but it was player created, right? So we have lots of players that play different styles of this game. Like we have some locals that play at a different store that play a commander like format
for Lorcana
that they created.
Yeah.
And I know other local areas have similar type things that they've created. I don't know if it'll ever be an official thing. But we have other like they're making Pack Rush an official type side event, right? Like, so it's not a never, but it's probably it's a while off just because it is such a new
I feel like
game.
it's got to be different because that's what Lorcana, that's what Ravensburger is trying to do, is make a different type of TCG. Now there's a lot of similarities. So I think it'll be maybe whispers of a commander like format, but its own thing.
Yeah.
So
I like it. Yeah.
that is it for questions.
Oh, we did get one. I think that was just more of an ego boost.
Oh, we have another one.
Question. It's why are our voices so soothing? And
We do vocal exercises.
red, leather, yellow.
The lips, the teeth,
You guys
the
can speak for
tongue.
yourself.
I think we all just kind of, I mean, we just talk, right? Like, so I guess we just have great voices. And
I think we're not using our customer service voices.
I mean, that's definitely true.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
When I used to work at Taco Bell and I was really tired, I would the training like racially ambiguous like AI was named Tracy, and so I would be like, "Hi, I'm Tracy. Welcome to Taco Bell," and I got compliments.
I'm tour guide Barbie.
Basically.
Like we don't do that.
No, we just use our regular voices. But we have been told that from other people beforehand. And I mean, Kimber and I are both teachers, and so we read to children on a regular basis and like have like a generally soothing reading voices. So I think we might put that on, but I feel like we're just normal talking.
I don't have an excuse. So
Well,
maybe I'm not.
You just have a wonderful voice. But yeah, no, so that was just a little ego boost there at the end.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing still is when you guys came back from nationals. You're like, someone like we were just having lunch, and someone walked backwards and said, "Wait, I know your voices." Like, I'll never get over that.
Yeah, no, so Ben has actually been messaging us back and forth on Instagram still.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to show me his tweaks he's made to my deck.
Yeah,
Or
see if our-
our deck, I guess. Now it's our shared deck.
yeah. And so he
He said he's bringing it. He did 7th in his set champs with it. So I was like, yes, King. I would love to see that list because if I just do really, really bad this weekend with my Princess Steel Song deck, I might switch over to that for the last few weekends.
Okay, like, I have not had a ton of confidence for myself, but like, so for real, not just saying this because you're one of my best friends, but like, I have so much belief in you that this is your set, and I'm just like, she's gonna take the whole thing, like, because that princess.
No, it is
I won't cry when I don't.
it's a beautifully constructed deck.
It really is. The
plays
synergies
so
are
well.
so good, and you play it amazing. Like, honestly.
Stop. No.
No, we're gonna keep going.
Stop it some more. You mean okay?
Well, gosh darn it, come hell or high water, I am going to set champs this weekend and league
I will
because
bring you a like bedazzled bucket if it comes.
oh my god,
Hold your hair.
the way I was so upset all weekend, and I was like, Friday night, okay, I'm gonna be better because I can make it on Saturday. Didn't happen. Saturday night, I'm gonna be better so I can make it on Sunday. And I think it was like 2 hours before the event, and I was like, there's no way. And Alex is like, yeah, there's no way.
He's like, all the love in the world, but you're not leaving this house.
Doug told me like a couple hours before. He's like, "Hey, 2 spots opened up," and I was like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
because I was like, I would bet money. I know who those.
One of them was me. Which was so sad, but we'll see this weekend.
Yes.
I don't even remember where I'm playing this weekend. Somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, just go by.
So just a few things. So like we did have a few more dual card announcements this week. So
Yes.
I think that the ones we've had announced have been okay. I love the art on the Beast card. We'd already seen it previously, not officially announced, but now it's been officially announced. I love the art on it. I don't necessarily think the mechanic is that great, but could be wrong. We'll see how it actually works in a real deck. And then we had a few more that I think that were decent. The Sven seems weak, but again, like some cards always seem weak until we see them in the right combinations. But my favorite announcement from this week happened today on Tuesday was them announcing the puzzles, right?
Oh, yes.
The Disney Lorcana puzzles, because I already buy Ravensburger puzzles.
They're so good.
Because they're so good. And so I was super excited to see that because
I
they're
want to be a
high-quality
puzzles girly. I really want to be a, but like there's,
You don't like the tediousness of, right?
it's not even that because I like Legos.
Yeah.
It's the fact that what do you do afterwards? You put it back in the box, all that hard. Like at least with Legos, you can display them now. And I know you can get to like glue and frame them, but no.
I don't know. I think
I'll buy it because it's Lorcana, but
it's the joy of doing the thing just for the sake of it, because it's not going to be something that I put on a wall, and it's the memories.
Yeah.
It's the
That's fair.
friends you make along the way.
okay. I mean, yeah, I would do puzzles if we had like a puzzle girly night.
Because like my favorite place to do puzzles is taking one on vacation. Because in your downtime, like there is nothing I love more on this earth
You have
than getting
downtime
together.
on vacation.
Vacation puzzle with my mother-in-law, because we will stare at it and we will say every bad word known to man. Don't do that at home with kids. But we just will stay up and we're like, we just like bond over it. And so every time I bring a puzzle that at least has one part that's really going to get us going, because it just,
That's fun. I like that.
I love it.
I need to know your secret that you have even downtime on vacation because I'm go, 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 go. My kids want to do everything all the time.
The last vacation we did that on, we were at the beach for a wedding. And so once littles get to sleep
That's fair.
and it's dark and it's Pacific Ocean, it's cold. Like,
That's fair. That is
all
fair.
open the windows. listen
No,
to
but
rain.
like I'll bring like a puzzle going camping or something like that. Like just do it outside. Like bring a
do the
card table and
too dirty.
oh my
do it.
gosh, you're hilarious.
Liam,
But yeah, no, I like
I'm not gonna read. I'll read. You guys can do your puzzles. I'll read next to you.
That's the only time I like to listen to audiobooks is when I do puzzles.
Oh,
I love the idea of going camping and just reading.
yes.
I will do that too.
Or Legos. Again, I will do Legos, but it's the satisfaction of being able to put them on my wall afterwards.
I also love Lego. Like I like
both.
I like anything.
I like
that's,
painting too.
I like
I love
painting.
painting.
I'm not great at it.
No, I'm not either, but who needs to be?
My grandmother was a big water color painter, and that's something that I know that I probably eventually want to do. But every time I do it, it like makes me like nostalgic and like it hurts my heart a little bit, but like in a good way. So it's something I eventually probably want to get into is definitely watercolor painting, but I want to be good, and so it's like you have to practice to be good. So
I want to get into the altered, like extending the card art painting. I know a couple of people have done it, and I like.
seen some really good stuff.
I think I could do it.
Yeah, our friend Katie, Lady Lore, she's been doing that recently. She's
Not to steal
good.
her thunder, because I probably would never give them to anybody but myself. But I would like to try.
Yeah, it would be fun. Especially we have so many bulk cards.
Oh, we
that
do.
to practice on.
We do.
Boxes upon boxes.
Had a couple of Simbas just lying around.
Just a few.
Couple.
Ending the episode, we did, Brittany and I, get our Japanese, the first chapter boxes in.
Yeah, so we each.
Yeah, so we got our first chapter box from Japan, and they're really cool. I really like them.
Yeah, I really enjoyed opening. So I opened most of the packs with Daryl yesterday because we got them yesterday. And then I opened a few here today with the girly paps. And I really like the foiling on the foil cards. I think it's a lot crisper
Yeah.
than the foiling on the first chapter from The U.S.
They even put foiling on the lures,
lure pips.
which
I
is really
I
cool.
was about to say that. I was like, even the Lord Pip is shiny.
Yeah,
Like,
so
Tamatoa would be so happy here.
yeah, I opened a Maldragon and a B Prep and a Let It Go as like super playable cards, and Friends on the Other Side. So those are cards that'll be put actually into our like card rotation. But past that, I mean, most of the commons and uncommons, like, we'll probably just play the English version of, but
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't opened mine fully because I like got it as soon as I was walking out the door to go record this. So I'm excited to go home and open it with Alex. But there's so like the foiling is just so cool. I'm so glad that Japan and China are getting their cards in. Like, that's going to be so exciting, and they're on accelerated timeline to kind of start catching up with us.
yeah, I want everybody to be on the same timeline so we all get it all at the
I
same
love
time.
being able to see, because I'm on social media so much with Lorcana, I see all the posts that are like all in Japanese because people in Japan are now making content and they're now, open doing pack rips, and that's so cool.
Some things about these packs, like I really like the rip little area on them, like that they're so easy to open. I like
a One Piece.
I actually really like the thickness of these cards. I think they might be an issue at some point, like competitively, if like you're playing with them.
Yeah.
Tournament, and I've seen a lot of discussion about that online, but I do like how sturdy they are, like comparatively.
They feel really nice.
Like, I would love to open an enchanted one of these because I would feel like it'd actually like hold up, It'd pass the PSA grading.
I wonder if it would be shinier too, because,
well,
I don't know.
we'll have to.
I'll let you know.
Yes, there's definitely one in your box. There was not one in my box, but there's one in your box for sure.
All right. Well, if you want to keep following us and keep sending us questions, and seeing our journey through as we continue Set Champs, follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at the Lorcana Muses, on X at the Lorcana Muses Pod, or email us at the lorcanamuses@gmail.com. Happy questing.
Happy questing.
Happy questing.